I had a really nice day today. I went to work for 3 hours and then I went to pick up some stuff for my pets and some stuff to play around with my hair. And then I went over to a friend's house to get a haircut. And this is how my hair turned out. And I really like it. I've had short hair before and it's pretty. I like short hair and it's so playful to have short hair because you can do your hair so many ways. But I also took the time to do some reading, and I'm reading this book. It's called Healing Your Wounded Inner Child. And it was interesting because this whole time I've been thinking that maybe there was something wrong with me. That maybe, I don't know, maybe I was thinking that maybe it might have been due to like an undiagnosed autism, but turns out it's trauma. It's all trauma. And it's like it made me think that, some people who think as adults, who also think that they might have ADHD or they might have autism, like I thought I did. That I thought maybe I had a mild case, or that I was very high functional, but it turns out that I am just a very wounded child. And that's okay, because it means that it's something that I can work with, it's something that I can work on. And I'm okay with working on it. And I'm okay with also not being like the perfect person, or not having like the most secure attachment, or, not being perfectly healed, and I'm okay with also finding other people that are not perfectly healed. I'm not expecting people to be perfect when I meet them either. What I am hoping for and expecting for is for them to be aware of those wounds and for them to want to work on them. For them to want to do something about it instead of just waiting for it to not show up, it's gonna show up, especially in relationships. And I think I have found out that one of my biggest non-negotiable boundaries is that if you're not working on yourself, and if you don't think that you need to work on yourself, and you're not actively doing something about it, I'm gonna walk to the other side of the room. Or just walk away, because I'm willing to work on myself. And I want to find people who are willing to work on themselves too. That's very important to me. To find people who want to work on themselves, be it friendships, be it in partnerships, be it any type of relationships, family members. If they're aware of what's going on in their world, and they're aware of what's going on in my world, meaning if they know I am processing some trauma, and I know that they're also processing some trauma. I'm willing to be patient, and I will be very, very patient. um, I have been through some experiences that have taught me that I am a very patient person, but I am also not gonna keep putting myself in situations where there's no effort. There's no effort in themselves, or in, as a person, in yourself as a person, and in the relationship. So if I don't see any effort coming from both sides of the relationship, and coming from, within yourself, I'm not gonna keep putting up with any behaviors that might affect me. And that's like a non-negotiable. That's one of my biggest boundaries. I'm not gonna put up with things that I don't need to be putting up with or handling. And and I love growing, and I love figuring those things out, because I'm taking care of me. I'm taking care of my little Christy, and I'm trying to put it out there too, like you can take care of yourself. You can learn about yourself, and it's valid, if you make mistakes, if you feel like you self-sabotage relationships, or if you sabotage situations. It's fair, but it's also fair if you're aware of the fact that you are doing that, and you want to fix it, and you want to do better. And I'm learning and learning that it's fair, and I can be compassionate to myself, and I can be compassionate to other people, towards other people that are doing the same thing as well. But I have finally figured out that to be able to protect myself, I need to put up those boundaries of not allowing people to hurt me way too many times, or tolerating behavior that's gonna keep hurting me over and over and over and over and over again. I can't keep doing that. In order to protect that child in me, I need to make sure that I don't allow that to keep happening, even though I am compassionate about the other person, going through whatever they went through in their childhood that might have affected, their relationships as adults. I am also compassionate about what I went through as a child, and how that is affecting me as an adult, but I also don't want it to keep affecting me as an adult. So I'm learning to be and do things differently. And it's hard. It's the hardest thing. Especially with a child, I have a child, and it's hard. It's hard to parent myself and parent a child at the same time. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's not impossible. Because as I'm learning about myself, I'm teaching my child as well. It's like a simultaneous thing happening, and it's very beautiful. And I hope that I'm not going to continue that generational trauma of putting my child through the same neglect that I went through. And I'm hoping that me being aware of that, and reading about it and learning about it, is going to help her do things way different than how I did them. I'm also very grateful for everything that I also went through. And I'm grateful for the things that my parents went through, because thanks to them, this is where I am, and I'm safe enough, and I feel safe enough to be able to work on myself, to do better, to change the upcoming generations. And I'm proud of my parents for, doing the things that they did differently to be able to change the upcoming generations. So, it's a hard thing to do, because you have to be very forgiving, and you have to be very compassionate and empathetic towards all of those things that you went through, and all of those things that your parents went through. And I think I'm getting to a good place where, like, I can be forgiving of my parents and forgiving to myself, so that I can teach Lali, my baby, how to be forgiving to herself and be compassionate to herself, and continue this generational healing instead of a generational trauma. So I'm hoping that if I can't completely heal myself, and I probably won't be able to, that whatever I learn in my experience as a parent and just as a human being, I can pass it down to my baby, and she will be able to do something with that, so that upcoming generations after her can keep healing it and healing it and healing it and healing it. So I just want to be that little grain of sand or grain of salt that, contributes to that little bit of change. And I'm just making this video to see if it'll help anybody, because sometimes we think that we're stuck with certain things, that we're stuck with certain emotions, that we're stuck with certain thoughts. And we're not. We can be liberated of them. And I'm excited to liberate myself from these thoughts that have been keeping me stuck, or these emotions that I kind of tend to create in myself because of my thinking. And for whoever it might help, it's not impossible. Like, you can heal yourself if you really put in the work, if you really make the effort to do that. It takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of work, but it's not impossible. And you can be in a romantic relationship and still be working on yourself, but as long as your partner knows and is aware of the fact that you're going through this, and you're aware of your own triggers and your own wounds, it's possible to still be in a relationship. Unless your partner says, oh no, like, I can't, like, everybody has a limit and boundaries, right? So if your partner says, I can't handle this, you gotta believe that they can't handle it, and you gotta let them, go. And that's one of the hardest things, especially if you have a childhood inner child wound, because we tend to be afraid of rejection and afraid of abandonment and all that good stuff. It's scary. But once you become aware of all of those emotions or all of those triggers, like, it gets easier. It gets easier to, like, even express them too and be like, oh, at the moment I'm feeling like this. Can you give me a moment to like think about it? Or can you give me a moment to process it? Just give me a moment to process it and I'll get back to you in like an hour or two. Like stuff like that, you know? Because with an inner child wound, I think we tend to be very, like, I guess stoic, or not stoic, but it's hard to express yourself because you don't know what you're feeling in the moment. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that you're feeling in that exact moment. So it's hard to talk about it. But nevertheless, it's not impossible. It can be done. It just takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of patience with yourself, mostly. Like, you can't expect other people to be patient with you like that, with all that. You can't. It mostly has to come from yourself first. And then, like, if you think that, you know, there's things that you can work with or work on with a partner, like, then you can. But it's something that you really, really, really need to be aware of in order for you to be able to work on it with somebody else. Because it's too hard. It's too hard. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I love learning and I love reading about these types of things. It makes me happy because it makes me feel like I'm not alone and I'm not crazy and I'm not, you know. So yeah, I'm happy with getting to know myself, getting to know what I need, what I feel, what I want, you know. I think it's part of the work I need to do here as a human. I need to unravel all of that trauma so I can let it go and be happy. And I encourage that. I encourage that for everybody because you will feel like a heavy burden lifted from you. It will feel so good. It will feel so good. And of course, like, I'm always praying to God and I'm always making sure I am communicating with, you know, a higher power, because without a higher power, I don't think I would be here. I don't think I would be the person that I am. And I'm very grateful, you know, that there is a God, because without a God, I don't think I would have survived. So, I'll see you guys later. But yeah, I'm happy, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of my experiences, and I'm grateful for my upcoming experiences. I'm excited for what's coming.